Sick of paying $100 for groceries and getting nothing but eggs, orange juice, and a paper bag? Then download the Drop app. Drop lets you earn points with your everyday shopping and redeem them for gift cards. Want a free dinner with those groceries? Drop it. How about daily lattes? Drop it. So download Drop today and get $5 just for signing up. Use invite code GetDrop777.
From iHeart Podcasts and Nomadic Engine, the acclaimed dramatic thriller returns. Aftershock Season 2.
He's like a ghost.
We had an agreement to keep each other's secrets.
None of you are making decisions to keep the rest of us safe, which leaves me.
I'm asking for your forgiveness.
Aftershock Season 2, starring Sarah Wayne Callies, David Harbour, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Listen to Aftershock on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Before we get started, a warning. This episode contains a mention of suicide and graphic depictions of violence. Hello. From Wonder Media Network, I'm Jenny Kaplan, and this is Womanica. This month, we're talking about folk heroes, women whose lives and stories took on mythic proportions. Today, we're talking about the warrior queen of the ancient Massagetæ people. Her small but formidable army defeated Cyrus the Great, the Persian king who ruled the vast Achaemenid Empire. Let's talk about Tomyris. Tomyris was born in present-day Central Asia, east of the Caspian Sea, likely in the 6th century BCE. In her time, the land belonged to the Massagetæ, an ancient nomadic people. Most of what we know about the Massagetæ today was first recorded by the ancient Greek historian Herodotus. Tomyris ascended the throne after her husband, the former king, died. During Tomyris' reign, her kingdom caught the eye of another powerful ruler. Cyrus the Great was the founder of the Persian Empire. He had conquered lands and kingdoms before, and this time he set his sights on the Massagetæ. First, Cyrus tried to win Tomyris' favor. He sent ambassadors to her, instructing them to court her on his behalf and convince her to be his wife. But Tomyris saw right through his scheme. She sensed that her kingdom was what Cyrus was really after. When his first plan fell apart, Cyrus moved more boldly, gathering an army and marching openly towards Tomyris' land. The Massagetæ people watched as Cyrus' army hurriedly constructed a bridge to cross a neighboring river and invade their territory. Tomyris sent a messenger to Cyrus while his troops worked, asking him to retreat and let her troops cross the river so they could battle on Persian territory. Cyrus was tempted to agree, but one of his counselors scoffed at Tomyris' request and called it a disgrace intolerable for a Persian king to yield to a woman. The Massagetæ wouldn't be content with a single victory, the counselor warned. So Cyrus and his army concocted an alternate plan. The Persian troops crossed the river and set up camp on Massagetæ land. Then, Cyrus and his army fell back again, leaving only their weakest soldiers behind. The Massagetæ forces, led by Tomyris' son Spargapasus, surged into the empty Persian camp. They easily defeated the few Persian troops still left there. They were also delighted to find rich food and an abundance of wine left behind. After a fine feast, the Massagetæ warriors became sluggish and drunk and vulnerable. It was a trap. The rest of the Persian army rushed back into their camp. They slaughtered a number of the Massagetæ and took even more prisoners. Spargapasus was so distraught at their defeat that he killed himself. Tomyris was devastated to learn of her son's death and her army's loss. She was more determined than ever to prevent Cyrus from taking her people's homeland. She asked for Cyrus to retreat. If he didn't, she vowed, she would give Cyrus his fill of blood. Cyrus didn't retreat, but this time was different. Tomyris and her warriors moved forcefully into battle, armored in gold and bronze. They surrounded the Persian troops, cutting off any avenue of escape. The two armies fired off arrow after arrow until their quivers were empty, then crashed together to fight hand-to-hand. When the battle was over, Tomyris and the Massagetæ stood as the victors. Many Persian warriors were slaughtered in the bloody battle, including Cyrus the Great himself. Tomyris ordered her troops to find the king's body. When they presented her with the dead ruler's head, she dipped it into a bag she had filled with human blood. She declared, "I live and have conquered you in fight, and yet by you I am ruined, for you took my son with guile. But thus I make good my threat and give you your fill of blood." There isn't a record of what happened to Tomyris after this great battle. The queen's tomb has never been found, and archaeologists haven't found any artifacts or ruins that seem connected to Tomyris. Herodotus' account, Tomyris' great claim to fame, is just one account of Cyrus's death. But Tomyris became an inspiration to artists and poets, and is the subject of many classical paintings. She even has a minor planet named after her, 590 Tomyris. Though many of the details of her life are lost to time, Tomyris persists as a mythic figure of strength and battle savvy. All month, we're talking about folk heroes. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Liz Kaplan, my favorite sister and co-creator. Talk to you tomorrow.
What's up? This is Chris Rudiger. I am the owner and co-founder of the 615 House, and you're listening to my new podcast, the 615 House Podcast. It's a chance to take a deep dive with some of Nashville's hottest artists as we learn their stories, and I try to keep the questions pretty spicy as these artists sit in the hot seat. Hang out with us as we talk to some of your favorite artists here on the 615 House Podcast.
Listen to the 615 House Podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get podcasts.
From iHeart Podcasts and Nomadic Engine, the acclaimed dramatic thriller returns. Aftershock Season 2.
He's like a ghost.
We had an agreement to keep each other's secret.
None of you are making decisions to keep the rest of us safe, which leaves me.
I'm asking for your forgiveness.
Aftershock Season 2, starring Sarah Wayne Callies, David Harbour, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Listen to Aftershock on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is Annie.
And Samantha, and we are the hosts of Stuff Mom Never Told You, a podcast about intersectional feminism and all the ways it impacts all of us. And now we're coming out with a book that takes an even deeper look at some of the topics important to us.
We dig into people leading movements like civil rights and the Jane Collective, and we discuss why fictional characters like Princess Leia and tropes like the Final Girl are powerful, and so much more.
Order your copy today of Stuff Mom Never Told You, the feminist past, present, and future, where books are sold, or get yours at stuffyoushouldreadbooks.com.